Hello, my friends. Let's do the weekly forecast for July 21st to July 27th. In years past, this is when I'm getting ready to go on vacation, go do my Viking camping for a couple weeks. Just haven't done it since I do it a little bit on a couple weekends once in a while, but I used to go for like 10 days, almost 2 weeks out to Pennsylvania from New Hampshire. Yeah, it's been since 2019. I just haven't felt like going. It's a lot of work to camp that long. What do you guys usually do? Do you usually do something in the summertime? Something traditional? That was a tradition for me for almost 30 years. So even though I haven't done it in a few, it still feels like it's still happening. I still want to go, but you know, it's one of those things. It's nostalgia, right? Because I'm recording this. What is today? Today's the 17th, and I'm still recording this while the sun is in Cancer, and that Cancer energy is very nostalgic. You can see the chart that we have on the screen for Monday, July 21st. Now, if you have your Llewellyn books out, remember we use these books. We use this book. I mean, you can use any astrology book. This one is for the astrology. It's not just the lunar phases, like some of the witchy ones and the herbal ones. But what we have on Monday, the 21st, is just the moon in Gemini. Let's see what's going on Sunday the 20th. Same thing. So Sunday the 20th, Monday the 21st, the Gemini moon. There it is. I just picked something sort of middle of the day. Here's the sun at the final degree of Cancer. And so it feels for those 2 days, Sunday and Monday, a lot of information can come through. We're in the balsamic lunar phase because we're almost to the new moon. Not quite. The new moon is a few days away, but we are at the balsamic phase on Monday the 21st. Let me double check. We're almost, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are in the balsamic phase. It starts at 315 degrees. And so, and the moon is out of bounds. It's way out of bounds. It's balsamic. What this tells me is because we'll feel this Sunday and Monday. I'm delaying for a second because I'm just trying to just get some really good insight. Messages that we have, it's kind of download messages we have coming at us, information that is part of what's going on in around you in your day. Mercury's retrograde by this date as well. If this is information, this is downloaded information, meaning meditation, spending time alone, just being very much in alignment with peace and quiet and unplugging this final lunar phase, which it can last, up to 3 days, 2.5, 3 days. It's just an important time period every single month for us to release and to let go and just to find that inner time where it's nice and quiet. So important for us to do that. And I want you to recognize that, and I want you to try and focus on that if you can. So, the 20th, Sunday the 20th, and Monday the 21st, because when the moon's in Gemini, we want to talk things out and we want to communicate. The ruler of Gemini is the planet Mercury, and it is retrograde. It's not gendered. It's retrograde. And so that means there's some inner workings going on. Take advantage of this. Even though I'm going to tell you other things that are going on, the sun will be in Leo soon. There's going to be some other aspects happening, but we are in that lunar phase, that balsamic lunar phase until the 24th and at 3:11 p.m. Eastern, so noon, 12:11 p.m. Western time, Pacific. So we're in for these first 1, 2, 3.5 days of this week, starting on the 21st. We're in the balsamic phase. It's about releasing, it's about understanding, it's about integration and spending time within. Don't forget to do that, okay? Take advantage of this. This is what it's for. It's just like having downtime at the end of every day. It's so important to take advantage of that downtime so you sleep better and get recharged better for the next day. Same thing here. Do that for yourself where you can. That's the importance of the 20th and the 21st, as well as 22 and 23 and into the 24th. But let's go see what other things are going on here. So the next thing is the sun, I believe, is the sun entering the sign of Leo. So it ingresses into that fixed sign of the season. So for us here, of course, it's summer. We know this in the Northern Hemisphere, that Leo time is that time we feel creative. We feel like our inner light needs to shine because this is the ruling sign for the sun. And it's a lot of heat. It's a warmth. It's confident. It's creativity. It's time for us to really express what we want to express and feel that, fill that desire. But I just told us that we need to like take it down a notch for a little while, and that's really true. So while this stirs up the need for creativity and directing ourselves towards what we're passionate about, what we love, what we're passionate about, being authentic and putting that spotlight on the things that are important to us for the few days until we get to that new moon in Leo. We are in that balsamic lunar phase. So be aware of where you're passionate, what you want to do, and what you want to be passionate about. Again, Mercury is still retrograde. It'll be retrograde till August 11th. It started on the 17th of July and in the middle of the night. So 17th, 18th of July is when the retrograde started. And so Mercury will stay retrograde just in the sign of Leo this time around, which is good. So I have a whole separate video on that. If you haven't seen it yet, just scroll back wherever you're seeing this. Just go search for it because this is all over the place. Anyways, so what else do I want to say? So the month ahead with the sun in Leo, just that isolating that just in and of itself is good for the creative expressions. But we'll get to a little bit more of that when we get to the new moon in Leo. Okay, that's coming up shortly. Here we can see the moon in Cancer now. It's really very high in the sky in the north. It means it comes up really well. You can't really see it when it's this close to the sun, honestly. You'd be fortunate to see it because you have to have an absolute clear view of the horizon. And you'll see it early, early, early in the morning, just as the sun's coming up. But sometimes it's so close that the sun will light the sky so much you can't see it. Next, we have the sun making a sextile to Uranus. Pretty simple, pretty easy, fire energy, air energy. When these two come together, a little bit, it infuses us with a little bit of strength and courage, right? Same day is the moon and Jupiter are conjunct, gives us a little strength, a little courage to shake things up just a little bit as to what we're thinking, information we're receiving, and what's happening in that regard. We've got this funky little diamondy triangle thing. There's really no name for this configuration, but I'll draw it out so you can see it. So there's the sun sextile Uranus, and that is by the math sextile Saturn and Neptune. That's messy. It's hard to see. Let me get a thicker line. That would be much easier. It's this blue thing right here. You can see it. Doink, doink, doink. Yeah. So it feels really good. You feel really, it just gives us a lot of insight and it just means a lot of things are working. It also matches what's going on right here. Everything's just in the first 4 degrees of the signs they're in. It's just like we're in such a changed area. And oh, look at this. So this is sextile that, and that's sextile that, and those are sextile that, and those are in an opposition. We'll talk about that. Yeah, I know. This is quite a unique. We're in such a unique period in time these days that it's certainly hard to predict exactly what's happening. And I do have the written blog post out there on Uranus and Gemini, so please go to my website and read that. That gives us, there's only so many videos I can do. I just can't do so many videos, but there's a lot of little I have little YouTube shorts out there on all of these outer planets as they've moved into new zodiac signs. So you can go enjoy those for free over on YouTube or on my Facebook page. So this aspect on the screen, the sun sextile Uranus just gives us an opportunity for some breakthroughs, some aha moments. But again, we're still in with Mercury retrograde, and we still have we're still in the balsamic lunar phase. The moon and the sun are not new yet. So write it down, keep it for later. We want to do that while the retrogrades are happening. We can get these aha moments at with a transit like this that are like all of a sudden you've problem solved something that's been on your mind. And that's a great way for the Mercury retrograde to play itself out while we have the sun sextile Uranus in Gemini. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. Mhm. Just gives us a little more in-depth look at things. Next, we have on the 23rd, this is like at 4 in the morning, 4:23 in the morning, we have Venus square Mars. Geez, I was staring right at it. I just couldn't spit it out. Venus square Mars. And where is that? Let's go find Venus. She's the faster, so that's why she's at the beginning of the sentence. There she is, Venus squares Mars. It's a mutable square. I like these. These are okay. These don't feel like there's too much tension, but there's always a little bit of tension when it comes to the squares. But it's not necessarily really difficult. It's just Venus and Gemini is flirty and chatty and just playful and curious and just loves conversation. And that Mars in Virgo wants things to be a little, in Virgo, it's driven to for efficiency. There you go, and results. And that's what it wants to do. And so while they don't necessarily match, they're still both signs are mutable. It's mutable earth, mutable air, right? And it's a masculine energy and a feminine energy. So the yin and the yang are there. They sometimes clash, but they can come together too. So this can show up as just some restlessness in information, restlessness in just who you are. Like you really want things to just move and get going. And it's not happening yet, right? We can feel a little frustrated with that. And that makes sense. And guess what? Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and Mercury is also the ruler of Virgo. So this Mercury retrograde is going to play out here as well. All of this means is like until we get to this new moon, we are just writing things down. This is a great opportunity just to open your journal or your notebook and just take notes, not necessarily act on anything. Very important to remember that. The next aspect is on, let me get my toolbar out of the way, the 24th, Thursday, the 24th, and it's at 7:23 in the morning. And that is the sun trine Saturn. And let's grab that. I'm looking over here because my toolbar is over here. Here's the sun trine Saturn, and then later on the sun will trine Neptune. So let's get those two dates because that happens, those two time frames. Both of those happen still before the new moon, so we're still in the balsamic phase. Let's hear it. The sun trine Saturn at 7:23 and the sun trine Neptune at 1:31. Okay, p.m. 7:23 a.m., 1:31 p.m. The new moon isn't until 3:11 p.m. So these two, so the sun making that conjunction, that trine aspect to these two, fire trine, fire, energy, movement, action. What this gives, that Saturn in Aries is the structure and the power of our goals. It is retrograde, so we are focused or reconsidering or reevaluating or realigning with what our goals are. That sun in Leo is always the creative expression, creativity, and doing what my heart desires. And that Saturn in Aries supports that courage and discipline to get things done. But things around time and energy could be a problem. Again, Mercury's retrograde, Saturn's retrograde. We'll get to Neptune, also retrograde. It just means that it's not huge advances forward, but it gives us opportunities to reevaluate. It doesn't mean that I mean, the outer planets are retrograde 4 to 5 months, depending on which one, every single year. So it doesn't mean we can't accomplish things. It's just we can accomplish things in a slower way, which just means we're more grounded and we're more focused, okay? And sometimes that's caused by problems, where we have to just get over one hurdle and then another and then another. But still, when you finally get to the end of the year or the end of the retrogrades, you can look back and see, I still accomplished things. And so with the sun in the fiery Leo, still balsamic lunar phase, making that trine aspect to Saturn, it's about prioritizing what your goals and what those goals are and having those boundaries and creating that. And the boundaries comes in because of Neptune in Aries. And, we want to bring in, Neptune wants to bring in a softer side of things, but it's in Aries, so it's not easy for Neptune in Aries. It's going to take me some getting used to this because Neptune is just soft and flowy, and I mean, the oceans are going to heat up. A lot of things that are relating to water and flow is going to hold up. I mean, heat up, not hold up, heat up because of this Neptune in Aries. But the sun making that trine aspect to Neptune after we have all of these boundaries and all of these goal settings and courage and discipline with Saturn, this Neptune is just like saying, well, what do you desire? What do you want? What is your dream? What steps do you want to take, or are you taking towards those dreams? And I'm still going to reiterate, with all of these things retrograde, you can answer those questions. It just doesn't mean you have to throw everything you have at it. You can just work on these things slowly. Time is tricky, isn't it? It's like we have all the time in the world, but then we don't. I know. And the sun Uranus over here, where my mouse is moving, that's the declination. That's just where they are, that like the altitude, if you will, as an easier way to understand it, like where they are in the sky. While the sun and Uranus are sextile over here, they're in the same place within 1 degree of half a degree of each other. And that just means they're parallel, and that feels like a conjunction, and that feels like there is some innovative and unexpected occurrences and things happening. So we can be open for that. And now here's the Neptune one a little while later. That one is again at 1:31 p.m. on the 24th. And I just talked about that. And then here is that new moon in Leo at 2 degrees and 8 minutes of Leo. So find that in your chart. Where is that? What's it near? What is it aspect? Because that new moon in Leo is just lovely, because now it says, okay, we've just had 3 days that we've been focusing on. It doesn't mean you haven't focused on things before, but we've got 3 days that we've been focusing on, 3, 4 days of the balsamic lunar phase and releasing things, and Mercury retrograde and all of that. And Mercury retrograde's right there with that new moon. But so what? Because it's just, new moons always are good, powerful reset opportunities where we want to express ourselves and where we want to, do we need to encourage ourselves and build ourselves up to be creative and to be authentic and to step into our own processes and our own projects and our own ways of just digging into the things we're passionate about. That's what the new moon wants you to focus on. And, your self-confidence. And are you somebody who's in a leadership role? This isn't for everybody, but wherever it is in your astrology, it's asking you to step up and be a little more courageous. And maybe something presents itself that you have to take the lead in something. It doesn't mean you're up on stage and, in front of thousands of people. It just means that you need to lead somewhere. That's what that is. And if that stuff shows up, then step into it. If it doesn't, it could be because this retrograde is here. Mercury retrograde is right there with that new moon, and you're reconsidering taking the lead, or reconsidering a lead position that you've had for a long time. And maybe it's time to surrender it so somebody else can do it, or you bit off more than you can chew somewhere along the way, and now you're needing to let that go. Right? It's a new moon. The new moon is is dark. It's like we got to initiate things. Nothing is really showing us, but we can go from within our souls and work on and look at and take your journals and write out what it is your heart's desires. Your heart desires. Yeah, do that. That's what we need to do. This new moon, again, new beginnings. And Leo comes in like a lion, right? It just actually that's March comes in like a lion, out like a lamb. But Leo is represented by the lion and just its fierce confidence. And that's what we can focus on. So take that little bit. Where do you need to be brave, or where's your passions lie? And start to just work that idea for a little while. Journal as much as you can, draw cards, journal, whatever your divination tools are. Do that if you feel like it, because we still, we can only initiate so much when we have a retrograde and Mercury's just hanging out right there. Just means we got to just take our time doing it. Take our time doing it. The next aspect that we have is on the 25th at 2:33 in the morning is on, July 25th, and that's the sun is opposite Pluto then. So, that new moon, let's go back to that chart. Here's that new moon chart, 2 degrees, 8 minutes. Here's Pluto, 2 degrees, 36 minutes. This new moon is opposite Pluto, is really what it comes down to. It's just, a little bit away. It is an applying aspect to Pluto when we have that new moon. So I want you to absolutely spend some time journaling about what your desires are, what your hopes and dreams are, what you're passionate about, and really start working that piece. By the time we get to August 11th and Mercury will be done its retrograde, then we'll have an opportunity to start to see some things move. Every new moon starts a new, of course, monthly cycle. Every new moon starts a lunar gestation cycle, which takes 3 years from start to finish, right? As it has 4 increments of 9 months, and that last 9 months brings us to the next new moon. So 3 years ago, so in July of 2022, 3, 4, 5, July of 2022, we had a new moon right around 2 degrees of Leo, like this one is in front of us. I guess I'll get that chart back up. Like this one is in front of us. So the point is like every new moon starts a nice long cycle that we have time to work on things, because 3-year projects are just way different than a month, right? Than that 128-day cycle. So think of that. I want you to think of that. So journal and process. And again, I went around the block a little bit on that one. What about the sun opposite Pluto with this new moon? That gives us the power and insight to really make a big difference, right? This can be personal as well as collective. The sun in Leo wants to lead with the heart, while that Pluto in Aquarius is challenging us to go deeper, to think, to let go of some of the old things that are just need to be released and let go of, so we can find new and innovative ways to create, because that's what Aquarius is about. We're just beginning that whole process with Pluto being regularly aspected by lunations and other planets. And so, I know it's been in this sign for nearly a year, off and on, actually since the end of 2023. And so off and on. And so we've had little pokes and little insight into what things should be innovative, and especially in your own life. We can look at AI and we just have no idea how far that's going to go. Our brains can't comprehend it. Like back in the 80s, the end of the 80s and the early 90s, like I remember, and I was born in the 60s, so I was in my 30s when all of a sudden the internet started showing up. No idea how much we've come. I've just grown with it. So, and learn. I think it's fabulous. But there's a transformative quality to, a big transformative quality to this Pluto in Aquarius, especially with this new moon opposite it and really stirring things up. So don't do yourself a favor and make sure that if you want to really get in alignment with things that are fresh and new and innovative And you might not have an easy time with that because I don't even know what that means if I was to do that, but I would journal about this and just say, yeah, I'm open for things that match my vibe that are innovative. I don't have to do everything. I don't want to do everything. I told you I was born in the 60s, kind of getting tired. So, but I'm still interested. I'm a Gemini. I love all this stuff. But do that for yourself. That's your favorite. That's the thing you can do for yourself with that new moon in the sign of Leo on the 24th, while it's opposite Pluto, which is exact on the 25th. And that's it for today. I don't have anything for the weekend, but I will talk briefly. July 26 and 27, we basically have that moon in Leo, so we're still going to continue feeling that Leo energy all day on Saturday, the 26th. And then by 5 p.m. on the 26th. This is always Eastern time. Right around 5 p.m. all the way through the rest of that day into the 27th and as well into the 28th. The moon is in Virgo, and that means we can feel more in alignment and more grounded. This is when the moon enters Virgo, this one on the screen, approximately. So we can um, use this Virgo energy of the moon on Saturday night, the 26th, all day Sunday, and almost all day on Monday. Yeah, actually, all day on Monday as well. The 28th, we can use that Virgo moon to feel grounded, to stay focused on local events or just your local community, or even smaller, what's your day-to-day activities, your health, your wellness, your food, your community, your family, just really close. Virgo is very precise, very analytical, and yeah, that's what we're looking for. Okay, I'm going to stop the share. And for those of you who stayed this long, thank you. Most people don't. And for those of you who see this on the last week of the video, this is for those who are curious why all of a sudden it shows up as public on the last day of the day of the week that I'm talking about. I've been putting it in public so I can encourage more memberships. Been doing it for about a month now. It hasn't helped yet. It's just it's a marketing. I love doing this, and I thank everybody who supports me. And this is my marketing. So if you like what you see and you want to see it like ahead of time, so you can actually use it, yeah, join. Level 2 or 3 on Patreon and level 2 on YouTube. I have more on Patreon than I have on YouTube, but you get all of this early. Awesome. Blessings, everybody. Thank you so much for your love, your support. I love your interactions. It's wonderful. Take good care. Namaste.